Hi everyone. Super nice to see so many folks over here. We have quite a crowd with us today. So we're really excited to bring this event to you. I am Vanshika. I am a brand storyteller and communication specialist. And I have four amazing panelists with me. I will let them introduce themselves really quickly, and then I'll quickly run you through the rules of the game so that you know what you're in for, and then we will begin the rapid fire with them.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. My name is Rajesh Srinivasan. I'm a passionate marketing strategist. I call myself as a marketing evangelist, and I'm an author of the book Marketing Success Formula. I'm also a keynote speaker. I work as an on-demand chief marketing officer for small and medium enterprises and startups. So I live in Chennai. I have a family, and my son is studying BBA first year in Amity University. It's all about me. Let's catch up.
So nice to have you here. Thank you for taking the time out.
Thank you, Vanshika.
All right, so I'll go next. Hi, everyone. My name is Ishan Singh. I currently work in the product marketing domain at Scripbox. It's a mutual fund and fintech startup based out of Bangalore. Previous to that, I was in a digital marketing agency called Rovesto in Mumbai. I have been extremely and entirely awed by the marketing space and the marketing communities. And this is one of the mediums where we get to. Thanks, Vanshika, for having me here. And really excited to be a panelist in this session.
So nice to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Hello everyone, my name is Devyani. I work at Simpl in marketing and operations domain. My energies are focused on offline marketing as to the opportunities we get to connect with the customers directly. Apart from this, I'm a yoga enthusiast, and this self-isolation has made me learn cooking, so, which I didn't know earlier. So good to connect with you all. Thanks, Vanshika, for having me in this panel.
Thank you so much for coming. It's so lovely to have you here.
Hi guys, I'm Aditya Shankar. I work as a content marketing manager at MoEngage. So basically, I'm an engineer turned marketer, and like most other folks of my generation, yeah, I started as an engineer, and then, yeah, basically, learned the ropes of marketing, went into B2C for a while, worked with a couple of big brands in travel segment, and then finally shifted to B2B. And it's been an exciting, interesting last 7 months at MoEngage. So yeah, looking forward to more. Thanks, Vanshika, for having
Yeah,
me.
thanks for coming and being here with us. It's awesome to have you here. All right, so quickly, just to run you through what the session is going to look like. So I'm going to ask a question. Everyone has 1 minute to answer. We have 10 questions. Not all of them should take a minute, but we have 10 questions ready for you. If you do have questions that you want to ask the panelists and I didn't go through them, you can feel free to drop them in the chat. Since I am one person, we will go through all of those at the end, and we will do those also in rapid fire kind of the way of running it. Cool. All right, so are you guys all ready for the first question? Yes.
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 Yeah.
All good. Awesome. Okay, so the first question, coincidentally, you, Aditya, kind of ran over it really quickly, but if you were not a marketeer, what would you have been?
A storyteller. I tell a lot of stories. I like stories. Um, that, in fact, is helping me in marketing. Not only that, I tell a lot of stories, and I always like stories, be it movies, be it the stories which we tell. I strongly believe in one thing: we human beings are naturally good storytellers. Always, everywhere. I always give an exercise to people who are coming and ask me how do I learn marketing. I tell them, go and sit at your home. If you have a girlfriend, if you have a boyfriend, if you have a wife or son, listen to them. What stories they tell. We talk about a lot of brands, restaurants, all the experiences in our life, in our day-to-day life. That's a big lesson we as marketers can learn. Thank you.
That was the first buzzer. That's what it sounds like. All right, go for it.
All Probably, I was quite a jack of all trades guy in college. So I was in an organization called ISEC. So there I learned a lot of different things from HR to sales to, and I was good in studies. So it could have been anything. You just pick me up and fit me there. To be specific and answer one thing, I'll say maybe an event management. I would have been an event manager if I wasn't in marketing. But coding, sales, anything was fine.
Anything and everything. Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Cool. Devyani, do you want to go for it?
Yes. So as a childhood dream, I wanted to be a doctor, but turned out to be a marketer. What happened when maybe as part of my interest, I used to host a lot of events during my college. Most of them professional events. So I would have gone into anchoring, yeah.
Very cool. Aditya, go for it.
Yeah, pretty nice answers. I think if not for a marketer, I would have been a couch potato watching Netflix all day. I think
Good job.
that's the reason. I think yeah, there was some job I saw like being viral, right? A mattress tester or something like that.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. I saw it.
Yeah, no, but kidding. Yeah, I think yeah, like most other people, I have always enjoyed, being in front of the camera. So would have done something there.
Awesome, awesome. Really great answers. Okay, so now you kind of got an intro into what the buzzer sounds like and how it runs in the format. So now we're just going to quickly go through all of them one by one, okay? So the second question I have for you guys is, what does community mean to you? And tell us two ways that you build community for yourself or for your company.
Can you repeat the question, Vanshi? There was a break in
Yeah.
voice.
So the question is, what does community mean to you? And tell us two tips on how you build a community, either for yourself or for your company.
Yeah, community. See, I always see inspiration as humans, how we behave. We all live in communities as a family, as friends, or even as office colleagues. Wherever we go, we are social animals. We like to be in a community. And when I talk about stories, we tell stories in each and every community. So when it comes to community management, uh, I would focus on two things. That number one thing is focus on building a tribe and a culture around it, because culture is very powerful. That mission can drive everything which we are trying to accomplish. And then number two, start very small. Instead of thinking big community, start a very small community and have a clear goal in mind so that you can create an impact in the society. Start small and create a culture around it.
Awesome. Just in time. Very good. Okay, go for it.
All right. Okay. So community for me revolves around one epicenter word, that's belief. And I think that's how major communities start, be it a religious one or be it a tribe, or anything. So if you're believing in some similar goal, then that's the core of a community. And that's the type of community I want to start. People who are believing or having the same thoughts process as mine. And for a company as well, it's quite essential if my community believes in the product that my company is working around, they will not just be my users, but my promoters as well. So it's a ripple effect. Yeah. So once you have that belief, it's a ripple effect.
Absolutely. And two tips?
All right. So firstly, just believe yourself first. And if you believe yourself, you'll definitely go ahead and make others believe. Secondly, make your community as your promoter, because you can't just do everything on your own.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Devyani.
Yeah. So community to me is something where a group of individuals share similar kind of ideas, thoughts, and beliefs. I completely agree with Ishan and Rajesh on this. And to thrive this community, there are three things which are very important. One is invest in your community members, because once the community is formed, you don't judge them. Instead, it's more about trust building. So you need to invest in them, and that's the only way where you can climb the next step in the ladder, right? So that's how the committee will try. The other two things are, you need to be very clear in your communication. Whatever the activities you plan to engage your community with, you need to be very clear what are your goals, what they will gain out of it. And the third is it's more about sharing. So even if it's very very vulnerable and honest, sharing of your experiences really empowers the community. So yes, this is it. Invest, communicate clear, and share your experiences.
Okay, awesome. Go for it, Aditya.
Yeah, great answers. I think, like everyone said, community is at the heart of, all businesses. And I think it's that one major factor that differentiates a successful business from a mediocre one. And yeah, I think if I have to give two, three tips, I think one would be start small. The better, close connected people you have, the better, you can sow in the seeds of culture. And second is start with one thing which is not salesy. Uh,
Mm,
do not bring the idea of your product right at the start and try to build a community around it. That's not how it works. Be supportive, be educative, try to solve a pain point in the industry, but don't try to make it salesy. That just ruins it.
awesome, awesome. Really good answers here. All right, third question. If you had three things that you would have ideally in a marketing teammate, what are those three characteristics that you'd want to have in a teammate? And feel free to explain why.
Number one trait which I would expect from my fellow team member is the trait which I don't have, because that will help me to collaborate him in a different way, and I can learn a lot of things from him. So I look for different skill sets which don't have in my team member. Number one, he should be more smarter than me. Number two, as Warren Buffett rightly said, if you're in a room where you are the smartest guy, then you are not in the right room. So I always try to choose people who are always one notch above me on the skill sets which I am trying to learn. Number two. Third one is the value system, being on delivering product on time, quality driven, execution skills, a value driven person, because I'm going to get rub off from him, right? So I want someone who's highly value driven, seeing things from long term perspective, having some good value system in them. These are the three qualities I would expect.
Awesome.
All right, so I'll just make it quick. Three words: analytical, agile, and fearless. I'll just explain them. Marketing is now mostly data driven, and I want to understand what type of analysis are we doing, what type of campaigns are we running, what type of approach we're having, to what type of audience do we get. Second, agile, because there are different things. Marketing is a very rapid progressing industry and domain, so we need to adapt, and the person needs to be agile. And third is fearless, specifically in terms of the experiments we run. And marketing is all about trying 100 things, finding out what 10 works, and building processes for those 10. So the person needs to be quite fearless in failing, because experiments, you learn, you fail. So you shouldn't be disheartened. So yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Go for it, Aditya.
I think it's Devyani's turn.
Oh, sorry, Devyani. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. So three things: patience, ability to say I don't know, and third is to yeah. So the third is hardworking, right? So I'll just explain. Patience, when you know that the other person needs to do something, you need to be patient enough to explain them from A to Z, what is required, what is not. Second, ability to say I don't know, because in marketing there are situations, and depending on different conditions and the customer cohort, you have to act differently. And there could be problems where you don't know what to do. So ability to say I don't know and ask for help. And third, hardworking. Being in a startup, you need to be extremely approachable and available throughout 24/7.
Very true. Very true. Awesome points. Yeah. Go for it, Aditya.
Yeah, I think Rajesh made a very good point. As people say, you're the average of five people you sit and talk and be around with. So you would always want to have people, with a better skill set than you have. But coming down to, exact qualities, I think one would be, uh, someone who's really willing to work, right? Get their hands dirty, get down to it. And, because in marketing, usually you come across a lot of people who are good with ideation, who can, really go ahead and present it. But when it comes to doing it, you know where they go, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, that's what, like, that's the kind of a person I am. And I expect the same with my teammates. Once the vision is done, you get down to it and whatever it takes to release it.
Awesome, awesome. All right. Next question. How do you market a product or a service on a zero rupee budget?
I'll choose a very small set of people initially, and try to sell them one-on-one basis. Try to convince them this product is for them. Deliver high quality, one-on-one personalized service to them. Maybe I'll choose a group of 10, 15 people who are known to me, who has a need in the first place for that product. Then I expect them to deliver word of mouth and to reach the second, third layer of the market through them. If at all I don't have any money,
Nice.
I use the same community principle to sell that product. Start small and make an impact only to those particular 10, 15 people, and expect the word to spread. That's
Great.
it.
All right.
All right. So for me, it will be just two things that I can think on top of my mind. One will be, as Rajesh has said, that first I'll find my target group and I'll make my value proposition of the product according to that target group. I'll start communicating with the target group, not in terms of ads again, since I don't have any money. And once I have a target group, once I get that beta testers and audiences, I'll try making feedback and improving my product. And secondly, I'll start creating a referral loop in my product itself. I'll start the product to sell itself and not a marketing dependency on the product. So I'll make the product agile and I'll focus on the target group so that that social word of mouth happens when people are talking about it organically on their social platforms about it. So these are the two foundations I would like to pick.
Awesome, awesome.
Okay. My answer is very much relatable to Rajesh and Ishan. I'll choose a small set of customers who can try out the product and simultaneously give us feedback. On top of that, run a referral program where these small set of users share their love for the product to their fellow neighbors and close community members. And third, use the leverage of social media and the power of networking, pulling the influential people in the same market who can, test out the product and spread out the word to their communities.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it's kind of funny because I've been in that place. And yeah, I think, yeah, all of these points are really good, building viral loops in your product, bringing the entire referral scheme into it. But I think from my past experience, things which have really worked is email marketing. And again, not, using some hi-fi tool with all drip campaigns. You know, I'm not talking about that. Like real cut to the crap, just text-based emails, and they have worked. And social media again, the importance of the kind of copy that you write, the same kind of copy. How do you write the same copy for social media versus email or versus the website content? All of these small little things become really important. And I think, yeah, another good example of this is what you are doing with your WhatsApp groups, right? It's zero budget and it works.
Thank you. Thank you. Awesome. Awesome. All right. Okay, the next question is, do you believe that you learn marketing from books, or do you believe marketing is something that you learn on the go?
I believe in learning marketing on two specific things, because I believe in strategic thinking and execution. Both are very critical to marketing success or anything success. So it means before jumping into the execution mode, I should do some research and have a conceptual framework as to what I am going to execute. Otherwise, my execution things will eat away all the resource. So first thing first, which I'll do is do some research as to who my audience is my value proposition is in alignment with them. All kind of research. I don't mean perfection here. Some kind of research. And then when I start executing things, I learn a lot of things, and I am willing to course correct. So that is what I do. I start with the strategy, go and execute, and course correct as I learn during testing, experimentation. On the move, I learn and adapt very quickly.
Okay,
That is what
very
I
good.
do.
Nice. Just in
Okay.
time. Go for it.
All right. So learning marketing is actually, I won't attribute it to specifically reading books or performing on ground. I think there has to be a mix and match of both. But the fundamental is understanding the things that you're trying to do. You should always think through it before you're implementing anything. You have to see what type of response you're getting. And it's the fundamental thing that I look is psychology. Once you understand the psychology behind what you're doing and the psychology behind the users whom you're targeting, after you are done with your experiments and after you're done with whatever you are doing, what is the response understanding you get by doing on the go, and at the same time you enhance and nourish it by reading as well. So both the things should complement each other and they should not be standalone. That's my
All
take.
right. Interesting, interesting. All right, go for it.
Okay, so I'll tell about two things: one individual perspective and the business perspective. Individually, when you're starting a career in marketing, you need to taste every bits and parts of it to know where your interest actually lies, be it content marketing, digital marketing, connecting with the customers offline. You need to taste it all and then come with your niche. As for and reading helps a lot. It helps a lot in forming an opinion of things, right? You need to know what the market is saying about it and then form an opinion. While on the business end, you need to know whether it's a new product in the market or it is a product which has competitors existing. So when it's a new product, you need to go into the field and get dirty and learn on the job. But when it's a product which has existing customers, you need to have your research done very strongly so that you don't repeat the same mistakes and can build a framework upon it.
All right, good. All right, go for it, Aditya.
Yeah, I think very interesting points. And as someone mentioned here, that marketing is a lot like psychology, right? You really need to know your product. You really need to know your market. Your target audience and stuff. And when it comes to books, I frankly have not read a lot. I've read very few, and I do, however, hear a lot of podcasts because I really like getting to know what's really happening outside, and that really works for me. But yeah, I think yeah, NPR, Freakonomics, even there's a wonderful podcast by CMI guys. So yeah, such podcasts really help. And I think yeah, as Seth Godin says, be market driven rather than be marketing driven. So that's a mantra you can have any time of the day.
Awesome. All right. Okay, this is a fun one. If you were stranded on an island and could take only one publishing platform with you in terms of you posting blogs or any kind of content, which one would you take and why?
Mobile? Oh, you
Yeah,
mean platform?
Anything. Pick a platform and tell us why.
I think she means a channel distribution channel.
Oh, okay. I take LinkedIn along with me.
Oh,
Why?
Because my focus area is LinkedIn, and I have
I think you got. I think he hung a little.
yeah.
Oops. I think he's hung. Oh no. All right. We can get back to him. So, Ishan, do you want to just start? We'll get back to him when he logs in.
Okay, all right. So just a crazy thought. Although I've never done that, but if that is a scenario and I just have one tool, I'd rather take TikTok with me. Never been on the platform. Never, never been on the platform. But I really, the reason that is, I'll make a lot of content, and my user base will increase. That okay, this guy is stuck in an island alone, and he's making TikTok videos. So I'll use that virality once I come back on different platforms like LinkedIn. In that
Okay.
way,
Okay.
we have a community. So
Nice. Okay,
yeah,
cool. You've also thought of content writing and content distribution. So when you come back to reality, this is what you're going to do. Very smart.
yeah.
All right, go for it, Devyani.
Okay, so I use LinkedIn most intensively, and then I use Instagram, Twitter, and then Facebook. I should be using Twitter more. That I am putting my energies into. But yeah, I would take LinkedIn because most of my friends are on Instagram are also there, so I can keep a connection with them. Meanwhile, there's so much running on LinkedIn, like from your second degree connections, third degree connections. There's so much information and energy flowing in. It's crazy. So I would take LinkedIn.
That's awesome.
I think I would take emails. It's a bit, I know I'm still old school, but I think there is something about a plain text, old email with no CTA, no jazzy, things to click and go somewhere else. I think I can make that viral.
Okay, awesome, awesome. All right, so till Rajesh sir joins back, we're just going to continue, and when he joins back, then he can jump into the loop again as we were doing it in the past. All right, so these are fill in the blank questions, so obviously they won't take you a minute, at least I think so. So just whatever comes to your head first, obviously in the same order that you guys were going with. Okay, if you had to sell a plant, what would you tell your audience?
Okay, so all right. Does it have to be a one-liner or just a elevator pitch would work?
Like your one line tag statement, like this is why you should buy this plant.
Okay.
You can't take so long to think. This is
Oh,
not rapid fire if you're thinking.
okay, fine. No amount of money can give you what this plant can give, and that's oxygen. So
No.
why not have it?
Okay,
Fresh
good.
oxygen, fresh oxygen.
Okay, okay.
I would say low maintenance, aesthetically beautiful, and giving you life the way you want.
Okay.
Interesting. Uh, I don't know.
You can pass. You can't take so long to think.
Is there an
You
option
can
to pass?
last also that too.
Yeah, I think
No, no,
that
no. We're
one
passing.
thing.
No, 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 no. You can't. You can't think. You
Okay,
can't
fine.
think. That's the whole point of this. Okay.
Okay, fine. I think I'll complete. Let me complete.
Okay. Complete. Okay. You can
I
complete.
think that one thing which is definitely not going to give you coronavirus. I hope. I hope it's gonna sell because everyone is shit scared of coronavirus.
Viral on WhatsApp groups
Good.
forward.
Yeah,
Nice one.
and I
Nice
can
one.
sign at the end Ministry of Ayush.
Hi. Welcome back. All right. So we're doing a fill in the blanks kind of a question. So it's one word or one phrase. So I'll ask you, and then you just continue with the phrase. Okay.
Okay.
Cool. All right. To become a better marketer, you need to do dash.
Learn. One word, right?
One word or phrase.
Learn, observe. Um, these are two essential skills, I would say, because as marketers, wherever we sit and wherever we go, we have an opportunity to learn and see if we really see around a lot of things are happening. So that could give a lot of insight to us rather than sitting inside the room and taking decisions. I always believe in that. Whenever I've been assigned to do a strategy work, I never discuss that with the business owners. I go to there, if at all they are running a retail shop, I go there and sit inside their retail shop, see what's happening there live. So in Japanese they say it's called zoom gemba. Go to the place of action. Don't take any action inside your room. Go to the place of action. Go to the factory place where the incident has happened, and then take that decision. That is what I say. So I strongly believe in that principle. Learn, observe, and go take any decision on the business front, not inside your cabin.
Awesome. Awesome.
All right. Vanshi, can you repeat the sentence so that I
To,
get the
be-
flow?
to become a better marketer, you need to do dash.
Fall in love with spreadsheets. That's the fundamental.
Good one.
Okay. Why?
Okay, so it's primarily for me, marketing is about psychology and data, and both the things play an important part. Spreadsheets will help you bring both of them together and help you make better decisions. That's what I do. So I, yeah.
Okay. Good. Good one. Good one. Okay. Cool.
I would say observe and execute. This is the sentence completion. Now, in my opinion, you really need to focus on execution because whatever the vision is, it requires numerous raw steps to understand. Right? If it requires you to be at a particular if you have to be in the field talking to the customer, go for it. If you have to roam around the city to research on something in caution heat, you need to do it. If you need to call a set of customers, there will be hesitation, go for it. So you need to really focus on execution part, and then it's a loop. Observe, execute, observe, observe, and then you plan to execute, and then you execute. So yeah, that's the thing.
Awesome.
I think for me it will be learn, experiment, and be ready to fail, and then repeat.
Okay. Awesome. All right. So we just finished lunch, and this is where the question originated from. If marketing was a dish, it would be dash.
onion. We have to
Like you peel the
take
layers and you
everything
fry
layer by
it.
layer and
And
see
you
what's
fry
there
it in the
inside.
process.
Nice, good
I
one.
use that an analogy because when we enter into any marketing space, immediately we will not get any insight. As we work and go deep dive into what we do, we will get more insights. So that is why I immediately said on onion. If you peel away the onion one by one, suddenly you will get some juice out of it, and you'll get some tears from your eyes. I mean, I use that analogy
Tears of happiness, I hope.
just to dive deep
Nice,
into what we
nice.
do.
All right.
Okay, for me it'll be superfood salad. Reason, there are a lot of ingredients. There are a lot of incoming and new ingredients that, and with the perfect balance of 4 5 ingredients, you can make a perfect superfood that is a wholesome meal and a wholesome dish. You won't need anything else. So marketing is something like that. You have a lot of options, but you just need to pick up and connect those strings with some 4 5 amazing ingredients, that channels, and you can do wonders from that.
Awesome.
It's very funny. I would say it's like a tomato onion puree, which just adds on flavor to any kind of dish or vegetable, anything that you're cooking. It's a base. It's a base for anything that you're cooking, right? So it would be that.
Okay,
Someone's been
nice.
doing a lot of cooking these days.
Yeah.
I think I would go for sushi. Simple yet exotic.
Okay, okay, very interesting. Okay, if you had to pick three top KRAs or metrics in marketing that really matter and need to be reported on, what would be your top three metrics or KRAs? And why? Feel free to answer why.
Number one top metric for me would be revenue. What is the revenue which I'm getting? Bottom line metric right away. Number two, brand metric. What is the health of my brand? And third one would be employee and customer engagement. I believe all these things are interrelated.
Okay,
Number one, revenue. Number two, brand metric, that is health of the brand. And number three, employee and customer engagement.
good. Nice one.
Okay, for me it'll be firstly, yeah, revenue, not specific in general, but why am I hired? The end goal of that. Like for instance, if I am a organic marketer, I'll see what type of efforts am I are my actions making. Firstly, it's that the end goal of my position or my domain. Secondly, it will be my learnings. Sorry, learnings proportion to the experiments that I did, because it's all about experimenting and then learning. So number of tries and attempts that I made to what I learned from that. And third is what type of processes have I started? Like, for instance, if I just try out 100 things and figure out those 5 or 10 which work, what type of processes am I going to build in the next time? Marketing is all about learning, executing, learning, and then building a pyramid from that. So, am I in process of that? Yes.
Okay. Vanshi, can you just repeat the statement again?
Yeah, so what key metrics or KRAs are super important in marketing and why?
Okay. Uh, so, as per my experience in payments, you need to be careful about three things, which are total payments volume that your product is offering, the lifetime value of a customer in terms of the transactions per user,
Hmm,
and also the frequency of the customer coming back, the time duration there. And the third is the kind the data analysis part of the experiments you are running on your cohort, right? Whether it is in terms of email marketing, in terms of some offline engagement activities, or some other social media handle activities like AMA or media posts, you need to be really in connect with the metrics of how your campaign should be.
got it. Okay, cool.
I think for me, average revenue per user is definitely a metric, a bottom line metric. You need ARPU. And yeah, you cannot be just burning off cash more than what you're generating, right? So whatever marketing you do, you at the end of the day you have to come on the table and be like, boss, this is my ROI, this is what my vision is, and this is where I'm willing to spend. And second is more on the people side of things, how healthy the entire team is. I think that's common for most functions, not just marketing, but I feel that's an integral thing which gets overlooked, and over time it tends, kind of tends to get rusted. So I think, yeah, those two things.
All right, awesome. So last question, and then I think we might have some questions from the people. So I just want to keep time for that. Last question from me before we wrap up and go to the audience side is how many people are really needed to run a marketing operation in a company? Like what, or if you had to hire a hypothetical marketing department, how many people would you hire and what would you hire them for?
It purely depends upon the stage of the company, but at a broad level, these are the things which any marketing department needs. Number one, you need a customer champion. You need a person who can take care of the campaigns and insights, a short-term revenue-oriented, funnel-oriented person. And number three, capability driven person, a person who can take care of the systems, back-end processes, and all those stuff. Number four, a person who have data analytical capabilities, because today you have all we have all the wherewithal to study customer data and take decisions accordingly. So to put a perspective, you need, and number five, you need a culture evangelist, a person who can drive the entire organization, break silos, and bring all the functions together.
All right. All right, awesome.
Okay, first for me, if it's a product or service, you need a project or product manager for that to understand what you're selling, derive value propositions for your target groups, etc. Second will be, again, a customer champion who understands the customer's pain points and try to bring resolutions to that. Third will be performance marketing expert who understand different channels, what to sell and when to sell, and not just drain money on one channel which is working. Experimentation should be the key there. Fourth will be an organic expert to build that asset for the company, not just on organic channels, but on communication channels like email, SMS, or different mediums. And fifth will be a brand expert who understands that the product should be linked to the overall brand. All of them needs to be gelled with, and then there should be one jack of all trades who keeps on hopping from one place to another, who understands that it really, as Aditya also mentioned, the guy who needs to roll up their sleeves and get it down to understand. And that should be, I'll say, someone with a less experience but more analytical mindset who can do things across different domains. Yeah.
All right, awesome.
Okay. So it depends on the scale of the business and also the money you have at hand. So if the money is low, you will expect your team to stretch too thin and do the work. So for the basics, there has to be one person who needs to be the customer advocate, who is in close connect with the customers, understands the needs and the wants of the customers. One person who converts these requirements into product features. One person who takes care of the data, like what the metrics are running right now. One person who takes care of the finance part of it. Like, because if you have low money, you need to be wisely spending on it while your other teammates are not focusing on it. And the final one who is experienced in the field, all of these people can be freshers, a little bit of experience, but that one person who has experience in the field is required to review the complete process and execution part.
Awesome. Go for it.
So for me, I think in the past I worked in a 3-member team, and we have done brilliant. Like we would easily generate $500,000 in revenue per month. So for me, if I have to really put it down into 3 people, I think one will definitely be a product manager, someone who knows the brand in and out. Second will definitely be a content person who can, day in, day out churn good content and, double up as a branding consultant, give more ideas. And third will definitely be a data guy who doubles up as a SEO person, who, who takes care of all the analytical part of the business. So I think, yeah, that's a super lean marketing team, I would say. because people are wearing multiple hats, but that's worked for me and I would stick to that.
Awesome, awesome. All right, so those were all the questions from me, but the audience has some really cool questions, so I'm just going to read them out and feel free to answer them. Same rapid fire kind of format. So Sam and Tawfiq both had very similar questions, so they're both kind of asking, how can a brand adapt their communication during this time, and post Corona, what activity should a brand take?
Uh, the number one thing which any brand has to do at this point of time is we need to thoroughly understand the customer sentiments, the way how we feel at this point of time. We are all people who are sitting here are also consumers, right? So what we feel at this point of time, or what behavior we exhibit, these things we have, that is very very fundamental. And ensure that your product or service is in alignment with what the sentiments or behaviors people are exhibiting. For example, if you notice today, I've seen in newspaper, suddenly this Chavan Prakash, consumption of Chavan Prakash has increased because people want to build their immunity. So you don't have to sell your product at this point of time. If people feel connected, they naturally come forward, and all you need to do is be ready to supply that demand. That's it. Don't force fit your product or any branding campaign at this point of time, because people will not, definitely are not going to appreciate it.
Wow, I got scared with my own alarm. Okay. Go
Oh,
for
it's
it.
not, it's not the buzzer.
It is, it is. I got scared. I was just listening and completely got lost.
Hope I have answered the question properly.
Yes, yes, you did. Awesome.
Okay.
Ishan, go for it.
All right. So according to me, it'll be building reassurance. Focus more on your existing customers at this point of time, because coming from a fintech perspective, there will be a lot of people scared about the market, about what is going on there. So you just need to build reassurance and start being more educative to your customers. What do you stand for? Why, and give them an assurance that you are there with them. Is
Oh no, he disappeared.
Yeah, sorry. And yeah,
Yes.
this too shall pass is the notion that you need to provide there. And you're with them, you're hand holding, and we'll come out victorious is the message. I think as a brand, as a company, you need to be there. Obviously, you need not be salesy at this point of time.
Awesome. Yeah, totally agree. Yeah.
I would say, that this is a horizontal crisis too for all the businesses, right? And I'm just observing what's going around with other businesses like Myntra. Instead of selling their apparels and promoting it, they have launched on their homepage segments like play at home, binge at home, work out at home. So they are in alignment, as Rajesh so said, how the customers are reacting to the current situation. Big Basket and Grocers were loaded with orders. They had to, pull up their socks and, they communicated very clearly to their audiences via email. With one of the Grocers email said that they have a 5 lakh order backlog, and they're trying and they're operating with 40% of their peak force, right? They're trying to get the passes. So they were communicating their pain and the understanding that we are here to help. If you see, for example, Lenskart is promoting cool looks and clean polish. So that.
Sorry. Go for it, Aditya.
So I think, yeah, all of brilliant points. You have to empathize with your customers and you have to do all of that. And I totally agree to that. But in terms of, a spectrum, right? Like if I talk in terms of a spectrum at the two extreme ends, one extreme end, you have travel and hospitality, real estate, healthcare, not really healthcare, but, such industries which are massively hit. And on the other side, you have like media entertainment, you have social media, you have, video chat apps, booming, zooming at all time high. So I think if I really have to break down what, brands should do depending on the spectrum. So on the other side of the spectrum, travel and hospitality, real estate, I think now is the time for them to, even more think about, digital means, right? Like think about what other VR, AR concepts you can bring in to really, digitize the entire experience in the real estate or in the healthcare segment as well, right? Because people can't get out now. And on the other side, I think video streaming apps and such industries, they should really focus on, retaining the users that they get. It's not like once all of this goes back, you're back to square one. That's not what you want to be in. Yeah.
Got it, got it. Very good. All right, two last questions from the audience before we wrap up. So, Yash asks, how do you recreate a brand story for a legacy brand, making sure that they still connect with new age customers?
I'll give you an example of Royal Enfield. It was an age-old brand. So even during my childhood, 15, 20 years back, it was available. Suddenly they stopped their production. But recently, over the last 4, 5 years, they have relaunched the product, and again they have gained their market share purely based on one simple cultural insight that millennials and Gen X wanted to drive big vehicles like motorbikes like uh, that brand, and they've used that insight to build their brand. So purely reverse engineer the culture, subculture, customer insight that is happening now at this point of time, and align that insight with your brand. I think that will help.
Hmm, definitely.
Okay, so for me, again, automobile comes strikes first. So for me, I'll just take an example of somewhere, and that is there at its peak something. So brands that have been there and have dominated the legacy some time back or long time back and are dominating still. One thing is evolution. So we can see that the products that used to dominate back then, it's entirely different from the range of products that are completely dominating for BMW right now. So you need to evolve with the technology, you need to evolve with the audience, and you need to build that connect with the audience. So taking inferences from the brands that have done that, this is the one common chain that you can observe, that you need to evolve as per your audience, and you need to, even if that means completely deconstructing what you have from and starting all over again, and that feeling or that go-getter attitude needs to be there if a brand is trying to recreate its legacy.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm just
I
waiting
have,
for it to wait. Go for it.
okay, okay. I've always loved Amul and the way they have restructured their branding according to the years that go on. So their mascot, they changed the look and feel of the mascot with the current situations, whether it be elections or this pandemic. And uh, it's been so long and they have not cut down their cost of printing in offline newspapers and other magazines. So they've always continued this strategy. And also one more thing recently has come out that Ramayana is streaming on,
Yes.
so during that duration of the streaming, they have streamed their age-old advertisement videos, uh, the
Oh,
ones that they used to show in 2000 or 2005-ish. So they have gone back to their previous video clips just to give you the
wow.
more feelings that you're watching Ramayana in that era.
Oh,
I've
wow.
always
I didn't know that. Pretty cool. Awesome. Go for it.
I think when it comes to really connecting with millennials and Gen X and Gen Z as we call it, I think all brands start at the same level, right? Like some brands have the backing of revenue more, but I think all brands need to get back to the drawing board and see really how can they connect to their customers, and that could also mean making changes to your product. I think Royal Enfield is a brilliant example which Rajesh gave, right? Like they were back then in like 1930s making bikes for Britishers who were in India, and see the kind of impact it still has, and it still keeps on launching new, again, year after year, new kind of brands under the Royal Enfield umbrella. So I think, yeah, that's what, like, you have to connect to your customers, you have to come down to the drawing board, see, really feel the pulse of it, and yeah, for that you really need the leadership approval for it. Yeah, that's very important.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Last question before we can all jump back into social. So, Smith asks, what are the best channels to reach out for consumers for an app without spending money?
Social media, I would say,
Okay.
because we
Ishan?
all yeah, social
So,
media especially, it depends. If you're targeting B2B, again I would suggest LinkedIn. Again, if it is a mass product, anything related to entertainment, fashion, again Facebook, Instagram is an ideal medium because the message spreads fast.
awesome. Absolutely.
Okay, so firstly, I'll say fundamentally, it's your app store. And you need to do a lot of ASO so that in your domain, that's App Store optimization. In your domain, if you need to be there, present there when people are searching for it. So App Store, and that's the ground for them. After that, social media for spreading that virality, say forums, because in forums, a niche specific audience who are talking things on uh,
Um,
any domain, dating for that matter. You can have dating specific forums that are there and people are talking about it. So you need to be present there rather than social media, which will be a generalized platform. So you need to have niche specific audience, you need to have general audience. So for both of those, yeah, first ASO and then forums and social media.
got it.
Once
Just
again,
learned
repeat
that.
the question.
Yeah, give me 1 second. So the question is, where did it go? 1 second. What are the best channels to reach out to consumers for an app without spending money?
Yeah, so of course social media, but you need to understand which channel your audience sits in. Whether it could be Quora, it could be LinkedIn, it could be Facebook, it could be TikTok. So not just vaguely going on all the channels and promoting yourself, but to understand where your customer sits. The second thing is of course word of mouth. Uh, produce viral content, and viral content I mean that has things for the customers to gain and not for you to gain. Giving out things that are used to the customer, like a free, like free something, free experience to the customer, which makes them feel it's valuable, and then they put their focus onto your product. That.
Okay. Okay, cool. Go
Yeah,
for
I
it.
think it's a brilliant question, right? People talk about product market fit all the time. Nobody really talks about product channel fit, right? And it's really important. Like if it's a B2B brand, like as Rajesh said, right? You find your segments where they are active and reach out to them. But I think another method of spreading really the word of mouth would be to make community in your in the app itself. And that's why you see like even like apartment complex apps have chat feature in it, and like these days even gaming apps have chat features in them, so that people they really want people out there to start creating content and start speaking to themselves and kind of take it from there. I think a classic example of this is the house party app, right?
Oh
Never
God.
seen ads, right? You've never seen ads on social media, you've never seen it anywhere, but somehow everyone's phone has that,
Yeah.
and that's word of mouth. So I think yeah, very
Awesome, awesome. Thank you guys so much for spending your Saturday with us. It was such a pleasure to host all of you and listen to all the knowledge you guys have. I mean, together we could write an entire encyclopedia on marketing, if we all just got into a room. But amazing
yeah.
having you
If you
back.
gave us more than a minute, then probably yes.
Yes, yes. Feel free to jump back into Social Lounge. I'm going to finish the event. So, Social Lounge is open. All of you can meet up over there, chat, sit on a table, same as when you had just come. And as always, please feel free to connect up with all of us on our LinkedIns. We're all available. I've even pasted the link to all of our LinkedIns in the bio. So, if you go there, you'll be able to see all of that. See you. Thank you for sticking around, and we'll do this as episode 3 whenever next.
Yeah.
See you.
Thank
Sure.
you.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Vanshi.
guys.
Bye.
See you.
See you.
Thank you so much. Bye.